Good Sunday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We got another Watchmen update. Got a bunch of news happening out there. We got a major protest in the UK looking for freedom where there is only tyranny now. And leftists have no idea what they unleashed on the world this week. Words from his widow. We got Middle East peace unraveling. Will the Trump administration be able to piece it all back together again? We'll find out. Also, we have war games in Europe having everybody on edge. We got dozens of countries joining sanctions, as California is also stripping protections for federal officers out of the law. We got that and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. And thank you so much for being a part of the Watchmen community. We also do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts to get into something more stable, like precious metals. I'm no secret around here. I have a lot of suspicion and distrust for the overpriced markets out there of stocks and bonds particularly. But precious metals is one of the safest and most historically safe places that we've ever seen. So if you want to see what you can do to make your retirement account a little more stable, a little more safe, Jonathan and his team can talk to you about that, what that would look like going forward. All right, President Trump will be meeting with Qatari Prime Minister after the Israeli strikes on Doha. Now this is happening as Qatar is out there telling countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, and other Arab countries saying that you need to get out of the Abraham Accords because it doesn't give you any protection. Israel's just attacking whoever they want to, and that's resonating with a lot of Arab countries in the Middle East. They don't like what's happening with the Palestinians. They don't like Israel just going around attacking Syria, attacking Yemen, attacking all these other places, attacking Qatar. This is not supposed to be a combatant, yet somehow they're doing an airstrike in the middle of a city. So a lot of Arab countries are getting kind of nervous about this, and President Trump is trying to hold this whole thing together. Apparently, President Trump saying that he was caught off guard by Israel doing this. They were given a heads up, but not much of a warning. Moving over to Europe, a massive Unite the Kingdom rally in the UK with over 100,000 people protesting, mostly protesting for free speech, basic rights, yet they're faced with tyrannical anti-speech laws. Many of them have gone to jail for attending protests just like this one, even though it's peaceful. They have 5,000 counter-protesters there literally trying to attack the people at the rally. Just imagine all the Antifa people being held back by 1,600 officers trying to protect the free speech people from the crazy people trying to literally attack them and beat them. In some cases, we've seen the police go after the regular, ordinary citizens protesting as well. Elon Musk addressed the protesters. Many of them were gathered by Tommy Robinson, if you're familiar with that name, saying that the protesters must either fight back or you die. That's a situation there in the UK, friends, and they've been stripped of all their boomsticks, so I'm not sure exactly how they're supposed to fight. This was a huge march and was in London. So we'll get some more news out of that in the coming days, probably. California legislature has passed a bill prohibiting law enforcement from wearing face masks to shield identities. So basically, ICE and other officers going into California, knowing that these people very well may show up at their home and attack their families. A lot of times they are covering their faces in order to protect their identity so that they don't have people coming after them. Well, California, they're not allowed to cover their faces anymore. It's going to make it a lot harder to protect their identities and protect their families from retribution. Now, I don't like the idea of federal officers with masks on or police officers with masks on, but I also realize that when you're going up against cartels, when you're going up against violent offenders who are part of networks, that you kind of have to do that sometimes. All right, Marco Rubio has been tasked by President Trump, he's the Secretary of State, to lead up Trump's new war in Latin America. We're going to talk more about this this afternoon. We're going to put out a whole video on what is developing in the Caribbean, but it looks like we may be going to war, friends. And I've said before that the task force that's building up in the Caribbean doesn't look like it's just there to stop drug traffickers. It looks like it's the skeleton for incursions at the best, or a downright invasion of Venezuela at the worst. I mean, it's not like the United States hasn't invaded countries in that area before, right? All right, moving over to Europe. President Putin has deployed Tu-22M3s. Basically, these are the big nuclear bombers. They're not exactly fast or lumbering, but just imagine them as like the Russian equivalent of the B-52s, except cheaper. Well, I mean, I said Russian version, right? Well, they're deployed those nuclear bombers in their World War III war games in Belarus. They have a major joint operation there happening with the Belarusian military. And the UN Security Council is getting all uppity about that, as well as NATO. They don't like Russia having these war games so close to the NATO border. And NATO has deployed over 35,000 troops right to the border of Kaliningrad, which is not where these exercises are happening, just to threaten the Russian government. All right, speaking of Russia, Trump has demanded NATO halt all Russian oil purchases. So Europe continues to buy oil from Russia, natural gas from Russia, and buys them through India and pretends like nobody will notice, right? But we all notice. We all know where that oil came from. President Trump is saying that basically Europe has to drop its purchases of Russian oil before the United States will launch additional sanctions against Russia. I mean, there's no point in the United States doing sanctions if you have your allies literally just breaking the sanctions right and left. But here's the condition, that all NATO allies must agree to immediately halt all purchases of Russian oil and to implement their own sanctions, or else the United States will not keep doing this. It's free money for everybody if you just like, we're not going to buy that thing over there, and everyone else is like, oh, well, maybe they'll put it on sale because you're not buying it. Well, we'll get it for cheaper. That's exactly what's been happening. He's also suggested that members of the NATO consider slapping tariffs of 50% to 100% on China as a way to end Russia's war in Ukraine. So we'll see if they do that. But yeah, not seeing that one happening. The United States has tariffs of 50% on China right now, but no one else. Yeah, and that's one thing. We have tariffs of over 50% on China. We have tariffs over 50% on India. We got tariffs, and yet the stock market is at all-time highs. If that makes sense to you, okay, go back and get in your time machine, go back into April and try to explain it to people. How we're actually going to have even higher tariffs in a number of months, and the stock market will be at all-time highs. Erica Kirk, the wife of the guy we're not allowed to talk about, but we all know who I'm talking about. She spoke to the American people yesterday with a tearful but defiant message, saying the movement built by my husband will not die, but will grow stronger. She also said, you have no idea what you have unleashed across this entire country and this world. She is vowing to continue her husband's work, to have conversations. I know, it's as crazy as it sounds, right? To just get people to talk about issues and to intelligently engage in political topics without animus, without echo chambers, but rather to actually have people discuss with each other. Carol Lee says, switching over to some of your updates here, shortages in Pennsylvania. Went to Aldi and was shocked to find that their only meat department was almost empty. Their meat department was almost empty. Lots of empty shelves and only a few packages of chicken. And also the produce department had lots of empty spaces. Bought onions and that looked fine, but when I cut them, they were rotten and slimy inside. Live in the mountains of Pennsylvania, and there aren't any bees this year, and the birds have been very few. Something is very wrong here. Ken says, Northeast Tennessee. Told you last week Nescafe went from $8.58 to $12.58. Yesterday, it jumped even further to $14.58. So, prices of coffee are definitely going up. Carl says tomatoes are growing more slowly and fewer. Heat killed our zucchini. Cucumbers are small and not fully ripening. This is rural Breckinridge County, Kentucky. Lots of people saying that their gardens did not go well this year. Rebecca says, Ocean Shores, Washington. Yellow Jackets showed up last week in full force, but acting drunk, stumbling around, sitting listlessly, randomly landing on me, not just at home, at the gas station, at the store, and even in Aberdeen today. They just aren't acting right. Yellow Jackets acting crazy. Maybe they're leftist Yellow Jackets. I don't know. Lady Farron says, Northwest Florida in the Pensacola area. We are passing some infection back and forth among 30 people who work here. That is very hard to get rid of. Starts with a sore throat and has a lingering cough that hangs on for weeks. We think it's the Stratus variant of COVID. Well, yeah, COVID is out there in the wild. COVID, for the first time in the past bunch of years, has dropped down off of the top 10 list of things causing deaths in the United States. So it's not even the top 10 anymore. But it's still going around. We got the flu now. We got COVID. It's just like become a thing. So now you get multiple of these things all simultaneously. It's wonderful. And you get one, you recover from that, you get the other. It's just, and we have multiple variants of these things. It's, thank goodness for Chinese labs, right? Madam K says, Northeast Wisconsin, I bought a ham steak from Aldi, fried it up, and it smelled like plastic burning. I thought maybe it was my skillet at first. Nope, the ham tasted like plastic. Tia, my dog, wouldn't even eat it. She loves ham. I pulled the other ham steak from the fridge and opened it, and that one also smells like plastic. What a loss. Snow Leo says, I live 2 hours south of Steve. I was driving to work a few days ago, the day after the blood moon, and there was a heavy fog to my left. The funny thing was, the fog was brownish gray. It was way darker than normal fog. We are experiencing the same things as others down here. Squirrels and birds have disappeared. Gardens barely producing anything. Jasmine Love says, anyhow, yes, I totally noticed that all the vegetables I have harvested here have a thick coat of gray. Clay is what it resembles to me. Not easy to scrub off of every single cherry tomato or green bean. This is Maine. What is with the sludge, the toxic sludge on all of our food, friends? Dangery says, I mow lawns. I see a good bit of gardens. There are a few customers that have tomatoes ripening, but most are still green. Friends, it's September and we still don't have red tomatoes. What is up with this? I went under an apple tree yesterday and took a look at them. A lot of them were rotting while still on the tree. A lot of trees seem to have a good bit of blight on the leaves as well. One customer had an oak tree, and I'm used to usually spitting acorns all over the place, but not so much this year, as the acorns are ridiculously small. What is happening to our entire, the ecology? I can't think of our ecosystem. What is happening to our ecosystem, right? Jane says, last September 2024, I purchased a loaf of bread but had a heart attack the following morning. Didn't get back home for a week. Noticed the bread was still good, and that didn't seem right. We still have that loaf, and it's getting hard, but still no mold. After 1 year, no mold. I now make our own bread. Yeah, that would... A lot of people are having these moments, right? You think things are okay. You're like, it's all overhyped. And then you have an experience like that. You're just sort of like, what are we actually eating? What are we actually eating? And a lot of people are waking up and going, you know what? We're eating toxic chemicals. We're eating garbage. And we need to actually start eating better. And then you go to the grocery stores and try to eat better. And you start getting more and more frustrated because where's the real food? It's hard to get real food anymore. Blue Rose Ramblings says, Northeast Ohio, I have flying grasshoppers eating my trees and what little of the garden I have planted. Maybe they eat bugs. I have cardinals and flock of crows. I have not had crows since summer before a huge snowfall in 2003. I wasn't even given a choice for a smart gas meter. It was let them install it or we shut off your gas. Yeah, a lot of people are experiencing that with the gas meters, right? Gas meters and electric meters, just not giving you a choice. You have to really push them, and they think you're crazy. Bella says, Kentucky, you all need to be planting a fall garden to help feed the bees over the winter. We had tons of butterflies and bees, and they will only survive the winter by being fed now. Good luck. And Luck Ladybug says, ginger is used in bread preservation by incorporating its essential oils. This is one way you can do it at home, which possesses antifungal properties to inhibit mold growth, thereby extending the shelf life of the bread. I promise you, this is not what the companies are doing out there. Adding a small amount of ginger powder to the dough can act as a buffering agent, reducing pH and promoting a better rise, while also acting as a preservative. Researchers are also exploring encapsulated ginger essential oils in food packaging films as a superior method to traditional techniques of chemicals for preserving various foods, including bread. Yeah, they're not doing that yet. They're not using essential oils. They're not using ginger. They're using chemicals and preservatives that are too hard to pronounce. You know what I'm saying? All right, friends, thank you so much for your updates and reports that you guys are sending in. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can be doing with your retirement account, there's a link right there on the screen. Just tap it, fill out the form, and they'll get in contact with you. If you do reach out to Genesis Gold Group, make sure you type the whole thing in. Make sure you mention this channel so they waive your setup fee. They'll do that for people who watch this channel. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar, The Poplar Report.